About a year ago, a crazy idea came to me to start running around my town holding this sign high above my head, and I followed through and I did it. And what's happened since has completely changed my life for the better and the life of hundreds of others. Please join me as I tell you my story, and maybe, just maybe, it will change yours too. I just wanted to be very clear from the beginning that this is not a business venture. This is not something that I will ever benefit from monetarily in any way, ever. It's something that I feel inspired to share, and I want to share it with everyone that I can, and even do so in spite of my insecurities. I'm really hoping that this channel will be the tool that will help me spread this message, not just around, my local town here where I've been running, but all the way across the world. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for tapping on this video. You are the most beautiful person in the world, and I will love you forever. Please accept this weird virtual hug. So here's the story behind all of this. My name is Ben, and I love to run. I've been running for a number of years, since about 2006. Had a good friend that I met in a neighborhood that I moved into, got me running, and it's become a lifelong habit. And I've tried to, especially the last 3 or 4 years, add in weight training as well to keep just generally healthy. So I do like to get out there and run. And one of the things I love the most about running is that when you're out running, you can get into the zone. People talk about, I'm in the zone, I'm locked in, I'm feeling great. It feels effortless. And that's really the time that inspiration can come, really good thoughts can come. So the crazy idea was actually something that happened over a number of years. So 3 or 4 years ago, I first got the idea, and the idea was this. While I'm out running, I pass a lot of people and I see their face. And I can tell, especially with some people, right, they're probably driving to work, they're going to school, maybe driving a kid to school, rushing around, stress of life, running errands, whatever it is, right? I could see in some people's faces just the dread. I'm sure you can relate, getting up, having to go to work or wherever you need to go isn't always what you want to be doing. Your life could be hectic, you could be really going through some stuff. And wouldn't it be cool if I could motivate these people? Now, I didn't know how I was going to do that, but as I had these thoughts over a number of years, I would get kind of little ideas and more ideas and more ideas. And then at one point, I had the thought and I got really excited about it. And I thought, when I get home, I'm going to write down all the things that are coming to me, right? And so I got home, got on my phone, started typing, just writing things down. And I decided I'm going to hold a sign, and don't know what it's going to say yet, but I'm going to hold a sign up so that when people pass me, just for those few seconds, they can get a little bit of motivation. I know that if I did that, or I was driving by that person, that it would motivate me. So I figured, I know I'm a weirdo, but there's got to be other people out there that like that. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm writing all these things down, right? And I'm writing down, I'm going to have not only that, but I'm also going to have events. We're going to get together on corners and we're going to do all these things. Not everybody can run, right? So I'm writing all these things down. So what would happen when I would get these ideas is they would sound amazing, and it would sound great when those endorphins were running and my mind was clear and my body was, in tune with my mind and kind of that spiritual side as well. But when I'd get home and I'd cool down and I'd go take a shower and I'd go about my work, those doubts start to creep in. And, those thoughts that, hey, what are people going to think of this weirdo? This weirdo holding a sign, running around. They're going to think he's crazy, right? Oh, crazy old guy. Are my kids going to be, given grief by their friends? Like, you're crazy dad running around town. Like, you guys are crazy, right? So all of these things passed through my mind. And then as the day would kind of go on, the fire to do it would kind of go away. So because I did what, most people do at some point in their life and kind of gave into those doubts about the thoughts, I never took it super seriously until about a year ago. And a year ago is when everything changed. So a year ago was about last February, and at that point, it was 2022, and we had just gone through 2020, which was a pandemic, and 2021, which was kind of, coming out of it, going back into it, coming out of it. And those 2 years combined, there was a lot going on, right? And we all know there was COVID. You had masks. You had people fighting about masks. You had, you couldn't go to this place. This place is shut down. You can't travel. We love to travel. Couldn't do the things we love to do. We had a death in the family. We have all the political bickering, right? We have people in our family fighting about that. And just, over the course of those 2 years leading up to last February in 2022, I was just feeling weary. I really like Lord of the Rings, and I like to use this analogy as I just felt thin, kind of like when Bilbo talks about feeling thin. Like, he's the butter that's been spread over too much bread, right? Just emotionally, mentally, spiritually weary. And, things were going fine other than that, right? Had a great job still. I'm in good health. I have 5 kids, and I'm married, I have a wife, all in good health. And those types of things, like those usual things that you would worry about, weren't a problem. It was just the weariness of the last 2 years. And so one day I just, kind of said a prayer. I need some help, right? I want to feel better. And went about my day. Nothing happened. Any significant thing anyway. And then the next day was a running day. So it was a Tuesday, I believe. I got up, went about my run, got ready, got out the door, down the road, just like I always do. And about a mile in, the thought came to me again. And it came like with force, right? It wasn't just, hey, that's a good idea. It was like, you need to do this. And it kind of overwhelmed me, right? At the time, I don't know how to explain it. The words probably can't really explain how it felt, but I knew, like, hey, I should do this. And I also knew that, hey, if I do this, I'm going to feel better. And that was kind of the warm assurance that I got. So I'm the kind of guy that, when I commit to something, I'm going to give a full effort. And so this time when I got home from the run, I didn't think I wrote anything down like the other times, but I knew I've got to do this. So I was kind of planning it out in my head, right? What is my sign going to say? How am I going to make the sign? How am I going to go about doing this crazy thing, right? And then again, of course, doubts creep in as you do that and think, I had this cool experience. I know I really got to do this, but should I? Like, is it going to be weird? I don't know, right? So all those things are creeping in. So the whole rest of that week, I'm kind of planning things out. How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And I decided to, on the following Tuesday, I decided that I would actually go and do it. And so I had a deadline. I had to have a sign made by Monday night. I had to have it figured out. Like a lot of us do, kind of procrastinate it, right? You have this thing, it's like, well, I can do it later. I'll get it done. And so Monday night, I went upstairs and sat on the couch, and it was like 8 o'clock at night. Our youngest was just going through bedtime and pretty much done with bedtime. And I'm thinking, I've got to do this. I don't want to just sit here. I know I've got to do it. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. So I went to my wife. My wife's very crafty. She has lots of, supplies for things on hand. And so luckily she had poster board. It's a $1 sheet of poster board from the dollar store. And I took that downstairs, took it to my office, sat down, tried to write on it. I can't write, I can't figure out the spacing very well. So that didn't work very well. But then I decided, you know what? I need some letters I can print out, cut, whatever. So I printed some out on the computer. I believe in you. I thought I believe in you was a good message. It wasn't weird, like, hey, I love you, right? Something that would resonate with me. Taped them to the poster board, cut it a little shorter, and had my sign. Had my DIY crazy, this thing here that's now pretty ragged. If you look really close, there's a lot of It's a lot of wear and tear, even some mold and some things and some dirt. It's been all over the world and other places around the country and around here. I had my sign, I was all ready, and so the next day I was ready to start. So I wake up Tuesday morning and having some serious doubts still, right? Like today's the day, I've got to do it, but do I want to? Am I going to be that crazy weirdo guy that people are going to be calling names or whatever, or talking behind my back? So I still, no, I'm going to have to do it. I've made the sign. I'm going to go out there. So got the sign, walked out the door. There were some kids walking to the bus stop on their way to school. Held it up for them. You know, got some smiles, some different things. Still kind of wondering. And then started my run and went off. And the plan was to, I thought I was going to hold it about chest high. But when I saw people and I saw the cars, I held it up as high as I could. Got super excited because everybody I held it up to was smiling, was waving, was honking. The reactions were amazing, and it was a lot of fun. It had a blast. And I got into trouble about halfway through, because about halfway through, turned around, went away where I would come back and come on kind of a highway with lots of traffic, because you can imagine all those people going to work and school and things like that. And halfway through, I looked at my heart rate on my watch. And usually when I'm running, it's about 140 something, right? Maybe 150 something if I'm pushing it. And it was at like 168, right? And I'm thinking, uh-oh, I don't feel great. This is really taxing. How am I going to make it back? But I made it back and had a great time. Did it again the next Thursday, and same kind of results, and done it again and again and again. And after a while, things started pouring in on social media, right? Hey, you're getting some love on Facebook in a group. Well, I'm not even a member of that group. Show me where it is. I'll join it, right? People, hey, I saw it to the guy running with the sign. I saw you, and wow, it changed my day. It brought me to tears. I had all kinds of things rolling in. I was getting, my daughter gets a text from somebody and says, hey, I didn't know that was your dad. Let me tell you my story. And I was fighting with my parents, and I was not going to go back to school, and I saw him with the sign, and I decided at that point, I'm going back to school. It completely changed my life. So the stories range from all kinds of things, right? All kinds of changed my day, changed my week, changed my year. I had a great conversation with my kids because I was driving them to school, and we saw it, and we were really uplifted. And it started really to blow me away, but not as much as one day when I was running down on a long run, and I saw a car kind of come this way, turn around and park in front of me, right? And it's off about probably still a couple 100 feet. And I'm thinking, okay, hopefully this person has good intentions, right? You never know. So I'm running that way, and as I get closer, kind of waves me over and unrolls his window, and I crouch down, and he shares with me, hey, I was I've been having a rough time, and I was driving around, and I was contemplating taking my own life, and I saw you, and that snapped me out of it, and I decided not to. I decided there's things that are worth it. Wow, that completely floored me. I had no idea something as crazy or as simple as, just on my run, just bring a sign with me and show it would have that kind of effect. It kind of solidified at that point that I should never stop doing this, that kindness is king. But not only that, it is so needed. It is so needed. Kind words, kind deeds. And they go so far, right? Just a simple, I believe in you, can save a life, right? So I knew at that point I had to make this a lifetime mission. And I have never not run with it since. I run a few times a week. I run with the sign. I hold it high when there's cars. When there's not cars, I hold it low. My body took a while to get used to it. It took a few months. It really was kind of brutal for a while. But wow, it's changed my life. And there was kind of two parts to when I had that amazing experience where, that thought came again, didn't just come to my mind, came to my heart, was that not only do I need to do this, but I need to do as much as I can to share it and to get other people doing similar things. Um, and not just running, right? Not everybody can run, but it could be running, it could be walking, it could be standing on a street corner, like I wrote down in my notes app. It could be sharing kind messages, all of those types of things, right? I started getting those impressions. Hey, you need to share this with everyone, and you need to get the message out there and do all that you can to motivate others to do similar things. And so a few months back, I'm not the type of person that loves to be out in front of people like, hey, look at me, draw attention to me. So the whole sign thing was really hard. But it's kind of brought me, after you do things for a while, you kind of come out of that shell. And it's not like I don't like people. I love people. I'm just not, if you have, extroverts and introverts, I would say I'm about in the middle, but I'm probably closer to introvert, right? Um, but this whole thing has really brought me out of that shell. And a few months back, I had, I thought I've got to share this. And the only way to share this more, right, is through technology. There's only so many people that I can run by, and it's a lot of people, right? Probably go on a good run, especially down the highway down there, and it's probably hundreds of people see me in a run. But this needs to be shared everywhere. There's not a person on earth that doesn't need to hear some kind words. And so I started some social media accounts. Never really been on Instagram much. I was already on Facebook, started a page. I also started an Instagram account, a TikTok account, which I haven't done well at or figured that out, as much. But also now this YouTube channel. And again, the motivation behind all of this is not look at me, bring me attention. It's to spread the message. And it's all about the message. And that message is, I believe in you. And hopefully, by hearing my story and by subscribing to this channel and watching my future videos and future updates, that something in you is touched on a kind of emotional and spiritual level, that you will kind of activate those kind of feelings in yourself and take action and join me to help change the lives of others through these simple acts. And there's a few things that I'm doing. One thing I started recently was a thing called the Signs Up Club. It's a Facebook group. I'll put a link in the description of that as well. Please join that if you feel like joining the crazies and either running, walking, standing, getting together for events, starting events in your area. Maybe you're not close. I live in Utah. I want people all over to do this, to also have, get-togethers, hold signs up, spread kind messages. I want all those things to happen. So if you are that type of person and you want to get involved and do that, join the Signs Up Club. Again, the link will be in the description. I also have a page called, Show Me a Sign, and that page there'll also be a link in the description for that one. That's more of, here's the events that we're going to be having, here's some updates and things like that. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and now on YouTube. Pretty much all with the same call sign, runner guy with a sign. So look for runner guy with a sign on any of those platforms. I have been able to convince some people to run with a sign. It's a very hard thing to do, but those people are in the Signs Up Club, and also some others that plan to put signs in their yard, plan to come to events to hold signs, things like that. Go on a walk, all kinds of different things. We accept all kinds of life that want to be crazy like us. So if that speaks to you, then please join that group. So that's my story. It's been crazy. It's been crazy good. And if you can, please give the like button a hug. It's looking very lonely. But also subscribe, also tap the bell and select all. That way you'll stay in the loop of everything that we do. You'll help the channel grow, you'll help spread the message of goodness, and you'll be a better person for it. And before I go, this one's just for you. I believe in you.